Welcome into Seahawks Today. I'm your host, Will Ortner, and because it's the bye week, I thought it was important for us to go through and look at some offensive changes that I would like to see the Seattle Seahawks make for the back half of the year so that they can make not just the postseason, but make it into the divisional round, conference final round, and maybe even potentially get into the Super Bowl. But before we get into that, I need you to go and follow me over on social media at Will Ortner. That's on X and on Instagram. Now, here's the beauty of my X and my Instagram. I am constantly tweeting out, posting Seattle Seahawks content. Sometimes it's videos, sometimes it's pictures, sometimes it's just my musings that I have on the day and on the game coming up. You're going to want to make sure that you head over there, follow me so you don't miss out on any of that. Now, the first change that I would like to see, and frankly, a lot of people in my DMs would like to see, there needs to be a change over at right guard. Right now, when you look at the play that's coming out of that position from Anthony Bradford, it's honestly just not good enough. There's an improvement. I would be the last person to come in here and say that Anthony Bradford hasn't at least shown signs of improvement from what he was last year. The problem was last year he was literally the floor, right? He could not be any worse. This year it is getting a little bit better, but a little bit is not going to be good enough. You need to shore up that right guard position in Seattle. Just look at Bradford's PFF grades. Now, I want to be clear. I listened to J.J. Watt. PFF is not the end-all, be-all. But if you're in the bottom half of PFF in your pass pro grade, your run blocking grades, mid at best, you're not doing well, man. I get it. They're not in Mike Macdonald's office. They're not hanging out with head coach Mike Macdonald, going through all the different plays, knowing what he's supposed to do on every single thing. They're still smart football minds. They have an idea of what's going on. Anthony Bradford kind of seems like he is struggling according to them and according to a lot of the screenshots that I continue to receive in my DMs. Right now, when you look at the grades on PFF for the offensive guards, that's not just right guards, that's not just left guards. All guards, Anthony Bradford is 73rd. There are 82 graded out guards in the NFL. That means that he is 9th worst according to PFF. Again, not the end-all be-all. Does that mean if you went through every single offensive line coach, head coach, OC in the NFL and said, hey, where does Anthony Bradford rank around all these guys? It's not necessarily going to be dead last or 9th last by every single accord, but it's going to be bottom tier in the NFL. And at this point, I've seen enough from him. I've seen enough. You need to make a change. Now, as we look at what the changes could be, the first obvious option is, well, do you go in-house? Do you bring in Oluwatimi? Does he come in at center and then you bump Jalen Sundell out? Do you wait until Christian Haynes is off the IR? There are reports that he might be returning to the team as early as week 9. Now, it does seem a little bit unlikely. Is that a move that you can make? Have Christian Haynes come in, Jalen Sundell all by himself at that center. I would remind every single one of you that even before the injury, Anthony Bradford beat out Christian Haynes. So that doesn't seem like a road that you would go down. The Oluwatimi road does seem like a possible route you could go down if you stayed in-house. The other option, trade deadline's coming up. There are some trade targets. We've done videos already here on the channel. You can see Wyatt Teller, Joel Bitonio, the two Cleveland guards, they're open for business. The Cleveland Browns suck, and they're not afraid to trade anybody to any team. Just ask Joe Flacco and his new favorite team, the Cincinnati Bengals. Kevin Zeitler, that's a possible option that you could have out in Tennessee. The Titans suck. They're trading everybody. These guys don't fit into their long-term plans. Do you go out and make a move? Do you go and try and trade for one of these guys? Now, you're going to have to give up an asset to go get them. But that's a possible change that you can make there at the right guard. Another change that I'd like to see is more fullback usage. Now, some of this, I can't go in here and fully blame Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator for your Seattle Seahawks, because Robbie Oates has been hurt, man. He's a guy that hasn't been able to play. He's been on IR. I want him to play. And I think that when Robbie Oates comes back for Seattle, they're going to use their fullback more. But we saw in the preseason I get it. It's preseason, 2s against 3s sometimes. Don't care. You saw what they wanted this offense to be, and that is an offense that utilizes the fullback position. And Robbie Oots can block like an offensive lineman. I mean, shoot, there's a part of me that says, why don't we put 20 pounds on him and have him go play right guard? Obviously, that's a bit of a joke, but I do think the return of Oots will help strengthen the running game for your Seattle Seahawks. And I think you will see more fullback usage there. I think that adds into the depth of what this offense can be. I think it adds into the passing game. I think it gives more options for Clint Kubiak to call, more play-action pass calls to be made, more options for Sam Darnold to find and throw the ball to. But more importantly, it's going to add to the run game. You're through 7 games right now, only 6 of them that you've had your 2 starting running backs completely healthy in. And right now, that rushing attack for Seattle is fine. It's okay. But as you can see here on the stats from both Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, I would probably agree with most people where I say there is more left out of this crew. There's more juice to be squeezed. 635 yards between your 2 main backs, that's okay. Kenneth Walker's got a good average. Charbonnet's is down a little bit. To also be fair to Charbonnet, he is your low down back. I do think that there is more usage that we can get out of them. We can get this rushing attack higher. We can continue to build on becoming a more complete offense. And right now, when you look at the backfield, I mean, shoot, you've had 2 games where you've had the full complement of this running back room. Now, Kenneth Walker's been there for every game. George Halani's been there for every game. Remember, Zach Charbonnet missed the New Orleans Saints game. That's the game Robbie Oots got hurt in. And against the 49ers, because of the way Robert Saleh was calling that defense, you stayed away from your fullback. So you've really only gotten to see Robbie Oots get fully utilized in this offense in 1 game. I'd like to see more fullback usage. I think it's going to open everything else up. This offensive change for our third one isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just A.J. Barner and Elijah Arroyo are playing so well that they need to be used more. You got to feed the tight ends more in this offense because you're going to use them in the blocking game. I mean, there is an absolutely filthy block that A.J. Barner has that scores a touchdown for Zach Charbonnet. He shoves in the defensive end and he quickly gets back out to the outside and seals off a corner so that Charbonnet walks in. When you block like that, man, I think you deserve to get the rock. I've been very impressed. I think that A.J. Barner has clearly risen into the role of tight end 1. You let go of Noah Fant right before training camp hit, and everyone, including myself, went, wow, that's kind of an interesting ballsy move. Why would Seattle do that? Well, it's because A.J. Barner has shown that he can be a better version of Noah Fant because he's a better blocker. And then Elijah Arroyo has shown that, well, frankly, he is someone that can be utilized in this offense. He is somebody who can continue to grow in this offense. He is somebody who, as the year gets going and he becomes more and more comfortable, you are going to see more usage out of him. I mean, shoot, the last couple of weeks for him, you've seen him get the ball thrown to him more and more. Now, both Barner and Arroyo have not missed any games this year, so you get the full 7 games played from both of them. When I look at this, in my eyes, they should each have more targets than they have already, and that would lead to more receptions. Now, with A.J. Barner, obviously a lot of his receptions are close to the end zone. He had the big 60-yard catch against the Jacksonville Jaguars, but other than that, he's been a red zone target, getting into the end zone 4 times, and that's been a very key part of this offense. I would like to see him be used more in critical third downs. Hey, Cooper Kupp isn't always going to be open, and he's been your big third down receiver. Use A.J. Barner. Kid's a big fella. Elijah Arroyo, keep finding ways to get him the football. I'd like to see him used more like Oregon does with Kenyon Sadiq. Let's see some tight end screens. The kid is freaking athletic. And like I said, every game he's getting more and more comfortable. He's getting more and more open, and he's getting the ball thrown more and more his way. I've gone through 3 of the changes that I want to see made here in Seattle, but I want to know what your changes you think Seattle should make. They might even be good enough, depending on what the change is, for me to come in and make a video about it. So let me know. Go into the comments. What changes do you want to see Seattle make during their bye week? We're going to get into the last change that I want the Seahawks to make, but before we do, I need to tell you about today's sponsor, and that, of course, is Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on any 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if your picks are right, you could cash in. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones are overhyped? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash all season long on Prize Picks. I have a 3-pick power play for this weekend. Jamar Chase, more on his receiving yards. Bijan Robinson, more on his rush plus receiving TDs. Jonathan Taylor, more on his rush plus receiving TDs as well. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. The last change that I want to see in Seattle is, well, frankly, the most important change I'd like to see in Seattle. Stop with the dumb play calls. Yes, I said it that way because it needed the emphasis on it. Seattle continues to try and get cute, and I do not know why Clint Kubiak continues to do so. I would grade Clint Kubiak's season as the offensive coordinator in Seattle as a B+. And one of the reasons I would say B+, because there just continues to be these 2 or 3 dumb play calls every single freaking week. Why are we running out random Jalen Milroe plays? Why do we have random moments where we have Jalen Milroe speed option? The offense is marching the ball down the field. Why go away from that? Continue to run your normal plays. Do not go to stupid Jalen Milroe plays just because he's a gadget player. When you're in a Monday Night Football matchup at home, a place where you've struggled to win football games, against a Houston Texans team that has a really good freaking defense, where you're up in that game by 2 scores, why would you call a wide receiver pass? Sam Darnold has been one of, if not the most efficient QB in the NFL. Why take the ball out of his hands and have Cooper Kupp throw the ball? I don't blame Cooper. Well, I blame Cooper Kupp a little bit. But I more blame Clint Kubiak for putting him in that system. Why would you make him throw the football? Just run it, man. You don't need to get cute. Run the normal plays for this offense. You can keep up with any team. You can beat any team. You're really freaking good. I've been very impressed with everything that I have seen from the Seattle Seahawks offensively, except for moments of getting cute. There are things that you have to work through. No team is going to be perfect. Frankly, if the Seahawks were perfect right now, I'd be nervous. I'd be scared. You don't want to peak right now. You want to peak in January. That all being said, the dumb play calls have to stop. I was a proponent of Jalen Milroe early on. I still like the kid, and I think he has time to grow. Let him grow. He needs to watch more film. He needs to get more practice reps. Give him a year or 2. There's still plenty of time for him. He's a good kid, works hard, has the right mentals. I think maybe he'll get there. But right now, this offense is perfect. We're pretty darn close to it. Try to keep fixing the weaknesses that you have in your normal offense. Don't continue to try and fix things that just don't need to be fixed right now. Here are my offensive changes that I'd love to see get made over the bye week. I think that there are plenty of opportunities for you to fix these issues. And I don't think they're that big. And I think a couple of them are not even issues necessarily. They're just players have played so well that they've earned more reps. They've earned more opportunities. And one of the issues is nothing you can control. The guy was hurt. Now that he's back, can't wait to see what happens. Make sure you follow me over on X. I'm constantly tweeting about the Seattle Seahawks. You do not want to miss any of the things that I have to say. And if you stayed all the way to the end of the video, why don't you just go and click that subscribe button? You do not want to miss out on any of the content that we have here for your Seattle Seahawks. We have watch parties during game weeks when the Seahawks do actually have some games, not on bye weeks like this one. And most importantly, we're trying to get to 75K. You do not want to miss out on hopping on that bandwagon with us. Till next time, I'll see you later.